过来，这是大脑是下去，到处出
在发展，人类的器官会不断的移植，甚至越活越年轻，甚至会长生不老。
来预测呢，本世纪呢，可能未来可以活到150岁。
Sure, you guys thought that you would see myself saying, welcome to the 4Ps podcast. You'll see me saying, welcome to the 4Ps podcast. But instead, you saw Vladimir Putin and Xi Jinping talking about something that looked almost scientific, almost science fiction, and very horrific. They may have been alluding to in that hot mic moment about organ harvesting. And they got caught saying the silent part out loud. Trust me, they got caught saying the silent part out loud. Today, we have a host, someone I met at Freedom Fest. He's with Epoch Times. It's a very large news organization here in the United States, and he has a book out called "Kill to Order." His name is Jan Jekielek. What he is talking about today will shock you. Unfortunately, the hot mic and his book, that hot mic moment did not give me any reason to believe that his book is fabricated in any way, shape, or form. As a matter of fact, it's downright scary. When we come back, we are going to be talking about his book, Kill to Order. He's going to be giving us some really, 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 and I can't say anything else but disturbing information about what is going on in China and quite possibly other places that hold that same ideology. We'll be right back right after this.
Recruitment has changed. The way you win business should too. Steve Tolan helps recruitment founders, leaders, and consultants across the world build authority, generate quality conversations, and create a more consistent pipeline through modern business development, social selling, and high-performance sales strategies. Through his Change the Game CTG program, Steve delivers practical training, mentorship, and live coaching that combines proven recruitment fundamentals with today's tools, technology, and buyer behavior. No theory, no generic sales scripts, just practical frameworks that help recruiters build trust, win more work, and stay ahead of a rapidly changing market. Change the game, build authority, win better business.
Hello and welcome to the 4Ps podcast. Today, I'm going to give you a scenario. A lot of people, we're in Vegas, and back in the 90s, they used to have this thing, don't date someone because you're going to lose your kidney in a hotel. And I don't know if that's ever been true. I don't know if that's ever happened. It was obviously an urban legend and this, that, and the other, and that's what you just don't do it, right? But anyway, today we have Jan Jekielek. And unfortunately, what he's going to talk about is indeed true. It is horrifying, and it is something that I think that that my audience needs to listen to, and it's something that absolutely needs to be stopped. It really does. Jan, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Trunnis. I really appreciate it.
You have a book called Kill to Order.
Yes. This is it, right here.
There you go. And just that title is horrifying.
It's horrifying, and what's happening is so horrifying that it's almost hard to conceive of or believe. And it's an issue that I've worked on for about 20 years. We're talking about large-scale industrial killing of prisoners of conscience for super elites and wealthy transplant tourists at very large scale. And it's something I really think can only happen in communist China. It's sort of like a next level organ trafficking that I've been looking at for 20 years.
So, prisoners of conscience.
Correct.
They are picking people off the street, randomly, basically.
It's not random, and this is the part that's So let me flesh out for you how this works, okay? And actually, it's importantly not random, and because there's this kind of element that has to happen in order to get normal people to participate in something like this. So, okay, for starters, let's just talk about what it looks like in an ethical situation. Okay, in an ethical system, let's say here, right? Someone if I need a new heart, someone has to have a catastrophic accident,
Right.
Okay. They have to be in a situation where there's still a bit of circulation in the body. Because if this accident happens in a way that totally stops all circulation right away, those organs degrade too quickly. Can't transplant. On the flip side, the person can't be alive enough that they're going to live. You don't want to transplant from someone that has a chance to live, right? There's a little bit of circulation going on. It's a very specific kind of accident. The ethics team has to clear it. Hopefully they're a good ethics team. And then our bodies reject foreign things, including organs. So we match for blood type and tissue type and size, in addition to these anti-rejection drugs. My point here is that it's very rare. This donor appears, and there's this field of people that are just waiting to try to get that heart, and an algorithm determines who gets to the top of the list in an ethical system. How desperately you need it, how likely it is to work, all these kind of questions. Okay? Yeah, that's ethical. In the Chinese system, it's the exact reverse. And let me explain why it's the exact reverse. So a few of the building blocks to explain this. One of them, and this answers your question about the randoms, okay? They have a whole history in communist China of creating class enemies. Okay, they call it black classes. It's not color, it has to do with wanting to hold that group in contempt, okay? So I'll give you the example. The first black class were landowners, okay? So the communists take power, 1949, all these people have a lot of private property that's theirs, hereditary, or they earned it or whatnot. The regime wants to take it. Those people are not going to go easily, right? They're not going to, here you go, right? No. And so what they do is in every communist site, they seize control of the information dissemination systems, okay? Media, turn them into propaganda organs, and then they pick this group and they push mass dehumanizing propaganda against this group. They say, landowning is evil. These people are evil. They took the land from you. They're saying this to the rest of the population. You deserve it back. You should treat these people in contempt. They're dangerous, contemptible people. And you push them hard, until it starts conditioning the population to basically tolerate things they would never tolerate against their fellow man normally. Okay? And also, some people go crazy because of this propaganda being so incessant and actually start participating. We saw that in the Cultural Revolution, where some of these young students just were like, we're killing people that were intellectuals of the old time period or something. So, okay, that has happened to many groups across history. Landowners, intellectuals, students in 1989, when the Tiananmen Square massacre ended the pro-democracy student movements. In 1999, there was a group called Falun Gong practitioners. Okay. This was an ancient Chinese yoga, core principles: truthfulness, compassion, tolerance. People living this. Okay?
Right.
Very unusual structure, though, and this is highly relevant to this situation. There's no hierarchy in it. There's no collection. There's no enriching yourself. There's no roster. You're not joining a group. Living the teachings makes you a practitioner. Okay. There's no worship, okay, of like a deity or something like this. It's very self-directed, but deeply spiritual. And the people, I think it actually creates a unique high level of agency in the people that do it, which I'll explain why this is relevant. Because in 1999, the regime realized there's more Falun Gong practitioners than Communist Party members across China, in all walks of life. 70 to 100 million was their estimate, okay? And so they decide to crush it. They say, this is bigger than the Communist Party, we're going to get rid of it. We're going to eradicate it. Eradication didn't mean kill everybody. It meant turn them into a black class, turn them into a class enemy. And by the way, you can get out of it too, right? You can say, well, let's say you were the landowner. You can say, thank you, Communist Party, for emancipating me from my wrong thinking about land ownership. I was wrong to own land. I was wrong to think that. Thank you for educating me. Thank you for emancipating. If you say all that, you might live. Right?
Might.
You've shown, yeah.
Might.
Precisely, because exactly, that's how it works. So, but the Falun Gong became kind of the first group that at scale, of course there would always be people that resisted, but at scale, the Falun Gong were really the first group to do that. They said, no, we're not evil. Right? Sometimes you'll see in these, usually in like capitals of states or the U.S. and so forth, people with yellow shirts that say Falun Gong is good or Falun Dafa is good.
Okay.
That is the response of Falun Gong practitioners to being called evil. Okay, that's where that kind of slogan of a statement came from. And so what did the regime do? Well, they said, well, this is unacceptable. You're not agreeing with our propaganda. Okay, so they incarcerated maybe 1 million, maybe 2, a massive number of people. The State Department, 2005,
Just for meditating.
For meditating, but also for being convicted in faith, right, in their beliefs, okay, and meditating while doing so.
Yeah.
Okay. And by the way, they were also kind of uniquely healthy people. They were known to be healthy. I think that's part of the reason why it grew so quickly, because that has health benefits. They basically take all these people, they incarcerate them, and now they start blood typing, tissue typing, and organ scanning them in incarceration, in prison,
Over 1 million
in
people.
labor camp. We don't know the exact number, to be honest. I want to be straight with you, because this is all a state secret. But it's 2005, the State Department estimated that half of all the people in the re-education through labor system in China were Falun Gong practitioners. Half. Okay? So it's just, anyway, massive number. And so if I'm a wealthy tourist, I need that transplant tourist, that's what they call it. I go to China, I can get it in 2 weeks. One of our whistleblowers actually was a transplant surgeon whose patient went and got a heart in China in 2 weeks. Okay? How does that happen? Well, there's someone in the system that's the perfect match to me because they blood typed and tissue typed so many people, right? So I show up, I pay my money, and they ship and kill that person to order so that I can live. An innocent prisoner of conscience. And they do this to the tune of 60 to 90,000, 60 to 100,000 transplants annually. Okay?
So you said ship to order.
Kill to order.
Kill to order. So
Yeah.
kill to order. So you're going to say kill to order. You have somebody in, I don't know, I don't want to say the United States, even though I'm sure that's happening.
It's happened. We actually have one example. So you want to know the crazy thing?
Give me that one, yeah.
2009, a guy publishes a book called Larry's Kidney. You can get it on Amazon today, okay? Larry's Kidney is a book, it's his cousin, okay? The guy needs a kidney, he's desperate, he goes to China. They know, when you read the book, you can see they know this is an illicit organ donation. They are told that it's coming from someone who's going to be killed anyway, but they have suspicions that it's probably not from someone who's going to be killed anyway. It's all written into a book. So there's like one example that is actually a well-reviewed, apparently, book from 2009 that was an American. I think it's much more common from Taiwan. We have examples from South Korea. There was a whole film crew that went and did undercover hidden camera work trying ostensibly to procure organs. They found 2 weeks, no problem, cheap price lists. They even found the schematics in this one hospital of a brainstem severing machine that would allow to basically sever someone's brainstem but keep the body alive so that more organs could be harvested out of that body while circulation continues.
That is awful.
Yeah.
That is absolutely awful. That is, it's scary because what I'm seeing is, as you're talking about this, I'm listening and thinking about all of the possibilities of harvesting people.
Yeah.
If I see somebody who's in good shape,
Yeah.
and I can just come up with some type of whatever and keep you. I may not use your stuff today, but I'll use it soon.
100%. And that's so. And this is. Do you remember years? I think it was last September. There was this. We call it the hot mic moment of Xi Jinping, Vladimir Putin.
I
and
do
Kim
remember
Jong-un,
that. Yes,
right? Yeah.
it was a very scary moment when Z said he did say something about.
I can
living to
paraphrase
100.
if you
Yeah,
want,
please,
because
go ahead.
I
It's
talk
like
about
living to
this.
150 or
This
something
changed.
like that.
Yeah, 100. That's exactly right. So it changed my thinking about this. I'll tell you why. So she says to Putin, "When we're 70, we're just babies." This is paraphrase, of course, not exact words. Putin responds, "Through continual organ transplantation, perhaps we can achieve immortality." And that's when she says, "Our target's 150 years."
That's what it was.
Okay. And so what this blew my mind, of course people were calling me like crazy, but because they knew I work on this stuff. But see, they have an elite longevity project. It's called Project 981. Project 981 alleges that people that are part of its project live 16 years longer than the average life expectancy. Alleges. You have to take it with a grain of salt, but I think it's directionally true. I kept thinking it was blood transfusion, something like this, that's creating this situation. I had not connected until this moment that the organ harvesting industry was obviously a centerpiece of the elite longevity project. So not only is it a $9 billion annual industry, that's an estimate, very rough estimate, but it's many billions, okay? If you're a Chinese super elite, you have unlimited on-demand organs available in perpetuity, to your point earlier, right? So that's what we're talking about, and it's a twisted system because the incentives are all messed up. There's no incentive to create a normal, proper ethical system because it's complicated. Someone has to have these catastrophic accidents. You have, right? Like it's a messy. But here, you just have a whole, literally an organ bank of living people that are healthy. It's a farm. And no one did anything about it for 14 or 15 years. People just sort of, kind of ignored it largely. They added another group, Uyghur Muslims, you might have heard about, in the northwest of China, dehumanized them the same way they did the Falun Gong, incarcerated a massive number of them, million plus, and now actually it's even more, in some ways it's more extreme because that whole region in the northwest is run as a police state up there.
Right.
And they've actually started blood typing and tissue typing people in their homes. A significant portion of the entire population has been typed.
So
right?
okay, so this is my last question. My last question is this. It is if we go ahead and I want to say this in a good way. It's China. What can we do about it? I mean, this book obviously.
Yeah. I have a whole appendix in here about that. Whether you're at the grassroots level, whether you're municipal, state, federal, legislator, whatever, all of it. I've got that in here, but I'm going to answer your question more directly.
Okay.
The number one thing, let's say you're someone who just like, I'm non-interventionist, that's their business, they want to harvest their own people, go for it. I'm sad to hear if you believe that,
I don't know.
But let's say someone does, okay? At the very least, we should stop being complicit in it. We should stop training the surgeons. We should stop funding the hospital partnerships. We should stop providing technologies for transplantation, all sorts of stuff. So that's one place to start, okay? Another place is, another thing you can do, which 6 states now have, is you say insurance, Medicare, Medicaid can't pay for China transplants. Some do. Why wouldn't they, right? So anyway, it goes on and on. There's a whole federal bill, S4009 in the Senate, modified House bill, that has just gone out of committee in Foreign Relations.
Wow.
In Senate Foreign Relations. And so it's quite possible at the federal level we might be able to pass a bill this Congress. It's getting to the line now on that, but it sanctions people that are involved in this. It gets the intelligence community to report on it properly and establish it as reality. This is like one of the biggest issues with this has been just the disbelief, or and of course not wanting to know is a significant part of that, especially if you're somehow involved. But
it's a horror film. I mean, what you're talking about, that's why you probably see my face kind of twisted a little bit. It's because it's a horror film.
Yeah.
It's almost to the point to where, I can make a lot of money off of this. I can also take my political enemies out.
That's right.
It's a win-win.
That's right.
And I'm saying that when I said that, it made me sound sick.
No. It's win-win in the twisted Communist Party logic.
Exactly.
That's what it is.
Yeah. And I didn't want to
that's
sound
astute. No, that's astute, right? Because that's how they think about it.
Yeah. It's horrible.
And by the way, just to be clear, this is not everybody in China is like, organ harvesting. No. Right? But the regime people, they benefit from it.
They sure do.
Yeah.
Because they do.
For money and for longevity.
Yeah. It's damn. Well, thank you so much, Jan, for this. It is very. That's a compelling story, and it's horrible. The book is called "Killed to Order."
And killedtoorder.com. If you're interested in getting the book, that takes you right to the Amazon link, and you can get it right away. I encourage people to get it into libraries, to other ways, but this is a quick way to do it.
And Dr. Phil approves.
Dr. Phil has been amazing. When I told him about this, he's like, how can I help? And I said, the number one way you can help is endorse the book.
Well, he did.
But he did. And, and we have Sam Brown back, who was the ambassador for international religious freedom, former governor of Kansas, former senator of Kansas, wonderful human being. Actually, a lot of people have really come out in support of this. Rob Schneider's out here. Rob Schneider actually had a joke about this, okay? And it wasn't landing initially, right? But I was just shocked that he was doing it. You can look it up, right? The joke basically is, China is the only place in the world where it's healthier to smoke and drink a lot, right?
It's true. Sounds to be true.
Because they won't take your organs, right?
Absolutely.
But anyway, but this is the thing. Like, a lot of people, it didn't land. But when he did a fundraiser with us and with people that were regular Epoch Times readers, and it landed incredibly well because people understood.
I'll tell you right now, I used to smoke a long time ago, and I quit for health reasons. I would start right back up. I would absolutely start right back up if that was the case. Jan, thank you so much for being on the program.
Thank you. Pleasure.
Thank you. Again, get the book. It is called Kill to Order. Read it with a, seriously, read it with a, I don't want to even say read it with an open mind because China might take it. But just, read it and be aware and do whatever you can to stop it. On the back of the book, it'll tell you how to do it. Talk to you soon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Purpose gives your life direction. Planning turns that direction into action. Passion gives your mission energy. Persistence keeps you moving when the road gets hard. The 4 Ps of You is more than a book. It is a framework for building a life with meaning, focus, and follow through. Discover your purpose. Create your plan. Fuel it with passion. Finish with persistence. The 4 Ps of You by Trunnis Goggins II. Available wherever books are sold.
Welcome back to this final segment of the 4 Ps podcast. I know that what we were talking about today is a little bit different than a lot of the other subjects that we talk about here. But, we have been focusing for the last couple of years, we've been focusing on the internal, about us. I really want you to know what's going on in the external. If you do not know what's going on externally in your environment, and you don't know what's going on around you, and you're not getting all the information you need, it may impede you to make the right decisions. I'm not saying that you need to make the decisions that I give you. I'm just giving you information that's out there. This information is very disturbing. It definitely, and I'm going to be, seriously, I had no plans to go to China in the next lifetime anyway, but it definitely gives me, it's like, wow, watch where you go. If somebody looks at you, I'm not saying this to be weird or any, well, actually, maybe I am. If someone sees you, okay, and they're looking like, wow, that's a healthy individual right there. Yeah, young, healthy, looks like they're in shape, stuff like that. They broke the law. So we're just going to go ahead and take them right off the street, and there you go. We're done. And I'm not saying that happened. There's a lot of factors. What I'm saying, the likelihood of that happening is low. But if you would have asked me before I talked to Jan about the likelihood of me being arrested and then being arrested just for the fact of being harvested, I would have looked at you like, come on, man, what body snatcher show are you watching? And so, but it's actually, there's evidence, and like I said, right when we began this interview, when we began this podcast, we saw 2 world leaders talking about it pretty opening. Okay, and so yes, I do want you to kind of think about that. It is very, very, very scary, but I don't know. It just really, really, really concerns me. Next week, we're actually going to have two different guests on the podcast. I know this week I was going to tell you that we had young people on the podcast that we're going to have from last week, but because of this topic, I wanted to bump it. So, excuse me, I made the command decision to go ahead and bump it because I really want people to hear what's going on out there in the world. And I thought that, having this interview out is I want it out. Please share this, like this this podcast, subscribe to the podcast, 4Ps of you. We're not always talking about very, very heavy topics like this. Sometimes we talk about lighthearted topics as well. And I really want you to be I really want you to be a part of the 4Ps podcast family. I absolutely want you to be a part of the 4Ps podcast family. Also, please make sure seriously, get the book. It is on Amazon. It's available on Amazon. You can buy a hard copy. You can get the digital copy. But Jan Jekielek, he is really, really trying to get some information out there. And it is some spooky information. And it's it's where our society has gone. And that is darn right scary. It really is. How much farther are we going to go down this whatever we're going? And there's a lot of other things that we're talking about that are going on in this world that are kind of out there. And a lot of stuff that we like back in the 90s we were watching, in 80s 70s for me, we were watching this stuff on TV, and it was just science fiction and horror. And now it's real life. It really is. Next week, I promise, I'm going to lighten it up just a little bit. I promise you. I really do promise you I'm going to lighten up a little bit. But today, I really wanted to make sure that you got this information. Until the next time we meet, I will talk to you again next Tuesday. Until then, bye-bye.